so.
Yeah, we have a quorum, we'll wait a few minutes for Chris. Thank you for your help.
I'm gonna take attendance before we start, just so I can get everybody's names spelled,
Yep.
especially guests.
Mhm.
So, if you're a board member, we'll start with you, John, do you wanna spell your name for the record, please? How do I know,
Let me think. J-O-H-N. That's the first name.
John,
M-E-T-Z-G-E-R.
oddly enough, you've not changed since last time, alright. Diane Scott,
Yep, Diane Scott,
you wanna spell your name for the record or no, thank you?
D-I-A-N-N-S-C-O-T-T.
Alright, Dr. Haddock, is that alright if I just put you here,
Yeah,
Jim?
you want Jim or James?
Jim's fine.
Okay, Jim.
Yep.
Haddock, H-A-D-D-O-C-K, just like the fish, you don't put that in.
Smells like it, but
Fish.
it ain't.
Grace Caswell, Gracecaswell, Kevin?
Kevin James, Y-A-M-T.
Alright, guests. We can start with you, Caitlin.
Caitlin, K-A-I-T-L-Y-N, Sproles, S-P-R-O-L-E-S.
Donna Schwartz, D-O-N-N-A-S-C-H-W-A-R-T-Z.
Oddly enough, it was for sure Caitlin's, I thought I was gonna spell wrong, but I did spell it right. Yay, I'm proud of myself.
Sending me too many emails, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Mike, I did,
Come on over and have a seat.
Yeah, have a seat.
And then we're gonna have Chris pull up there between you guys.
Yeah, we can have Chris grab a chair when he gets here.
We're just taking a roll call, so if you would tell Grace your name as a guest.
Mike Shillman,
And then how do I spell your last name?
S-H-E-double-L-M-A-N.
S-H-E-double-L-N-A-N?
M-A-N.
That makes more sense.
well, before we get started, I actually asked Mike, he lives on the river. I've talked to Diane that I've been trying to get Mike. So he is a very interested party in what goes on the river, so.
Wonderful.
We've been kind of friends for years, I don't know, I call him a friend, but he may not, so, but he may, but I've only got a few, so I don't. But actually, Mike's nice enough to come in, because he is very interested in what goes on in the river, so.
Okay. All right, well, welcome and thank you guys for being here. I'll do some quick introductions. I'm Diane Scott, I'm the president of the Noble County Parks Board. I've been involved for about 4 years, maybe 5 now. And we'll go on to you.
Jim Haddock, I represent the Kidderville area, I guess. I've been on the board for
15 years.
15 years now.
Well, with that, I'm Grace Caswell with the Visitors Bureau. I'm appointed by Purdue to be on this board. And I've been a volunteer for a year and a half?
Mm-hmm.
And
Couple
then
years.
maybe 2 years, and then in 2024, the beginning of 2024, I was appointed officially to the board. And then Chris, can I have you spell your name for the record? I'm sorry.
It is C-H-R-I-S-T-O-P-H-E-R. C-S-M-A.
M-A?
C-I-A-S.
C-I-A-S. That look right to you?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I didn't know if you were gonna give me your hyphenated full legal last name. I was like, okay, I get that right for the record. I was waiting, I was like, no, that's, oh yeah, I can spell that.
And then Chris, you wanna introduce yourself and for our guests?
Yeah, I'm Christopher Macias. I work for the city of Ligonier in the parks. I got appointed, I believe, about a year or so ago. I was appointed by what I believe the previous,
Council.
yeah.
Okay. Kevin's our newest board member.
Yes, Kevin Yant, I've been coming to meetings for about close to a year, and I've been on the board for the last 6 months. Retired.
And you were appointed by, Judge.
Judge.
circuit court judge.
Alright, and then Mike, John introduced Mike, so how about you two introduce yourself and a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, my name is Caitlin Sproles. I work over at Mary Lee Environmental Learning Center. I'm the Director of Education and Outreach over there. I've been over there about 4 years now. Before that, I worked over at Channel Lake State Park as the interpretive naturalist, and my family and I live here in Noble County.
Awesome.
We have Donna Schwartz, I'm the trustee for Elkhart Township, which is Woolwaka, Costerville. That's it. We have two different park areas, and we've just worked in the last 7 years trying to get them up to par and kind of get used more often. I also have my own business called Blue Fox Farms and Strand Nursery. It's a wholesale and retail business for native plants. That's national, so we do a lot of shipping and go all over the country.
Awesome. Well, we are really excited to have all three of you here with us today. Let me give you a couple things here so you have some detail. The others. Okay, so on our agenda, next thing would be the review of the minutes from our 9/24 meeting. So Grace mailed all those out to everyone. Does anyone have any changes or corrections to the 9/24 meeting minutes? I did not see anything. No. So could I get a motion to approve them as distributed?
Motion.
Okay, and a second? Okay, Kevin, and all those in favor, please say aye. All right, any opposed? Okay, at this point, we would normally get an update from Teresa Tackett for the plan director. Did she submit anything?
To my knowledge, she did not submit an update, so I'm comfortable saying no update at this time.
Yeah, that's fine. And then we also normally have something from the EDC. Is there an update from them or no update?
They had their board meeting this morning, and their last meeting of the year is coming up, but I didn't receive a formal update from them.
Okay,
I don't think they had anything that connected to outdoor recreation or parks this quarter, so I believe that was why they didn't submit an update. I don't believe they had one.
okay. And I did not receive anything from Steve Hook for GIS. GIS has been very active with the park board, helping with, getting some of our mapping done and just getting a lot of stuff done. So we invite Teresa and the EDC and Steve as, volunteers that assist us with our activities. But I did not receive an update from Steve either, so we'll say no update on this one.
I would say the same for Purdue Extension. Typically, we have an update from them. The only thing that I will note is next week is Purdue Extension's open house at the South Complex. It's in the afternoon. I can get you more details after this meeting, but you have an opportunity to meet with them and hear a little bit about what they've got going on for the year and for next year. It's open house style, so you don't have to stay the whole time, and I believe coffee and refreshments are being provided.
All right, so you'll send a note out to everyone? Okay, that way we can go then.
Grace, they're still in that out in the South Complex. I thought they were gonna move into the new building.
They moved back here, but where the open house is gonna be
They
is
still have a kitchen. Or
so that they have some
their-
more meeting space and,
Okay, I was just like, what?
Yeah, they just got moved back in now.
yeah, in the last probably 6 weeks, 8 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Grace, did you say that you have a website, Facebook update, or?
The website, Facebook updates, so for website, once these minutes are approved, we can get them up. Once our ordinance has been confirmed that you want me to put that on the website, I can put that up. As well as once our meeting slate for next year's approved, I can put that up. And then ideally, I will put the meeting dates up once approved also on our Facebook page, that way they're publicly out for the community to see, but until action takes place in this meeting, I don't have any updates until after you guys give me the green light to do those updates.
Perfect. All right. I don't have any other reports that we need to do, so we'll move on to old business. As you know, in September, we presented to the county council and requested that we either get funding for the park board, or if we didn't have funding, that they take it and revise the ordinance that would allow us to seek grants and to add a treasurer to our group, et cetera. That meeting went very well in September. The next morning, I got a revised copy of the ordinance from Jackie Knaple, from the attorney, and then they said they were gonna review it formally for approval at the October meeting, which they did, and you'll have a copy of that. So this was approved by the county council to make those changes. That was done October 6th. The big changes were that we could add a treasurer to our officer roles. The treasurer would need to be bonded, of course, and then the fact that the original ordinance said we could not apply for any grants without prior approval. And the issue was, so many times grant opportunities came up and you couldn't get on the agenda before the grant window was closed. So we asked that be changed to say that we may apply for grants for funding. The stipulation that they gave us, we could not use grants to pay any of us a salary or to hire people, which this is an all volunteer group. We just wanted the ability to get grants for advertising, to do a 5-year plan, to do a lot of the initiatives that we want to accomplish. So I'm very, very pleased to say that that was approved October 6th. They granted us everything that we asked for on that. It is effective the beginning of 2026 is the stipulation, that it will be effective January 1st, 2026, which is fine because that will be when we start our planning for 2026, do our election of officers and all of that. So I think this gives us a tremendous boost in terms of what we can accomplish and where we're going forward. Any thoughts on that or comments?
The only thing that I'll say for the record is our general ordinance number now is 2005-36, amending our original ordinance, which was 2010-1.
Right.
So it does have a different ordinance number because of that amendment. So we'll wanna update the record, our minutes, I'll put that in there, but then
Yes.
we'll also make sure this gets put on the website as well.
Right. Yeah, so thank you all for your work. This is something that, we've been requesting for probably 3 years, so it's really good to get this finally approved. So that is the only thing I had under old business. Does anyone have any other old business before we move on to new business? Is there anything that we've forgotten? No? Okay.
The only thing that I have, because it was unclear in the meeting notes, there was a kind of forewarning of Jim eventually stepping down from the board. Was that a formal statement?
Formal
Because
forewarning.
was it a formal statement or an informal statement? Just so, because I didn't include it in the minutes because it wasn't clear to me whether that was a formal or just kind of an FYI thing. So, not to put you on the spot.
No, I don't
but
wanna
so that-
steal Diane's thunder here. So
No,
I'll just-
you can make
No,
your-
wasn't a warning, it was just wanting to step down,
Okay.
not a warning.
Okay.
Right. Yes.
You know,
So we appreciate
but,
we appreciate all of Jim's efforts. He and John are founding members of the park board, but Jim and I have met. He will be submitting a letter of resignation from the park board effective 12/31. But we've asked him to please still be available because we have so many things we want to accomplish, going forward, that we've asked that we still be able to call on him to look at our 5-year plan or help us with some things, not as a voting member, but always welcome to be here. We know that in November, our next meeting, we'll be looking at, the officers and the slate and some of that stuff. So we really wanted to make sure that, we knew who the board members were gonna be. And, like I said, Jim did say that he wants to step down as a voting member 12/31. John is going to stay on for at least one more year. At least one more year. So, he said 1 year and I'm saying at least 1 more year, so.
Well, I just wanna say it's been a pleasure, working with this board, a great group of people. We had our ups and downs, and mostly the downs were restrictions on financial opportunities to do some of the things we wanted to do, and that's been lifted. So that I see as a great, great impetus for us to be able, you to be able to move forward as a board and accomplish some great things, because we had this motto for years, we just don't have the money. We did get a grant back when our first mission statement was made, the first 5-year plan, $10,000 from the Echo Foundation, and that was utilized fully for a thorough scouring of the county to meet with people at various communities to see how they felt and to vote on various issues that they thought were important. We developed a plan for things that we wanted, that the community thought were the most important. And as I recall, those largely dealt with trails and river systems and hiking facilities. Not to say that some of the other things that we have investigated and been successful with, the DISC program and others, not to say that those were not looked upon favorably. It's just that the impetus wasn't there for us to develop those until later time. Just the time wasn't available yet. So I look forward to stepping down and to helping in assist you if needed, as a non-voting member.
Well, we cannot thank you enough for your dedication to the group, and look forward to continuing to call on your expertise, so we really appreciate that. All right, any other old business? Okay, all right, new business. Kevin, you were going to give us an update on Tri-County Fish and
Yes,
Wildlife.
So yesterday, I stopped over at Chain Lakes first, talked to Sam Boggs and said, yeah, I'm headed over to Tri-County, can I use you? Since they participated in our yearly meeting, and asked him if, I could use them for a reference. And told him that I was heading over there, and he said, sure, so I got his card, and so I drove over to Tri-County, and Candace Wallace, she is the office manager. But also, when I was telling her about, why I was interested in that, and Sam Boggs had told me this too, there is a separate entity that handles access ramps. And this guy is named Weston Zerber, and his office is out of Tri-County. So he come out, when he heard me talking about it, he come out and we started a conversation. He basically was telling me about the ordinance from 200 years ago where, if a stream isn't navigable, which that's the line the state's taken. So more or less what they told me, the state's not gonna put any ramps in, but if we wanna go on private land and make a access point somewhere, problem with that one, we would probably have to coordinate through them.
Right. Okay.
And he was familiar with, somehow our conversation got on a little 2-acre part of land right there next to the river that the county owned, and suddenly it didn't anymore, and he said he noticed that.
Are you talking about the Ball Road?
All road.
No,
that would be.
It was on Albion Road,
Oh, okay, all right, I just wanted to make sure I knew which little piece of
Yeah,
property you were
the
talking
highway
about.
department owned it, and then that was going.
Okay.
So who owns it? I didn't think county, wasn't that private? Well, Mike knows more than he does, yeah, Mike would know. I always thought it was state.
I think
No, I
that,
think the county owns it because they had to acquire that when they straightened out the curves and put the new bridge in.
Is that when that's how that all happened? I don't remember. Maybe that makes sense.
I think.
Mhm.
Well, Not an attorney, don't know for sure,
Mr.
but
Bushy owns it now.
what's the GIS say?
From what I understand, it is no longer in county hands, I believe it briefly was. And then I believe it was
So where'd it go?
either, I believe it's privately owned by an individual now, but we could ask Steve to clarify. But I believe it's owned by an individual, and I believe the individual named is the correct individual.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
I'm kind of with Mike, cause when I come up to it, I thought, how can this be? I always assumed it was state owned, maybe it was county owned, but how this transferred, then I was told, no, it was somebody did the survey and it was actually private ground. I'm like, how did we put a ramp in on private ground without some paperwork?
Well, if it's what I'm thinking, there's no ramp.
Would that be, no, well, I was thinking of, is it 3, the bottom one that's closed now?
Yes, now I brought
Now
that
there's
up, I
three.
brought that up to,
That's on 525, isn't it? Isn't that 525?
Weston,
Yes.
Weston.
Because when the last time I went canoeing, it was fenced off, and I went, what happened here? What happened here? And it would be near the Bushy properties.
And I started a conversation with Weston about that, he told me basically how it like dropped off the deeds or something like that, I don't know, but I don't know.
Sounds like a
how-
lot of squirreling.
Yeah, so. So that was, so I made contact with those people there, I told Candace Wallace is the office manager, and I told her that, when we have our summit, that we'd like to invite them to come over and participate.
Would it be worthwhile to have them as one of the presenters or panelists at that meeting, just because they would be such a new, I know we do a round robin and everybody has a chance to give a brief update, but would it be
It'd be nice to have that
meaningful to have
introduction.
that more formal introduction?
Yeah, especially since, I think so, since they've got a chunk of land out here on 500 North, it's 80 acres, and then, around Diamond Lake, they've had that to manage that, so. Probably about 20 or 25% of their property is in Noble County, on the east side, along County Line Road.
Yeah, we'll add them as a possible presenter for our fall summit, 2026 summit. We'll extend an invitation and see.
And like I said, Candace Wallace is the office manager, so must always be in the office and
Okay.
address it to her.
You
Jared,
said Wallace?
yes,
Can you spell that for the record, please, first and last name?
Candace Wallace, Candace Candace, Wallace Wallace.
Perfect.
Kevin, what you're saying then is that the DNR absolutely will not participate in.
It sounds like, no, no.
Thank you.
If we had a grant and we could finance the putting in of the facility,
Right,
would they agree to?
I think so, I think that's what he was telling me yesterday, if he said if you guys wanna obtain some private property and put a ramp in, you can do
Yeah,
that.
then we go through the permits and all that,
Right,
yeah.
right,
But it could not be on DNR property.
probably not.
Right. But land could be donated to this entity or potentially purchased, yeah, okay. I pick up what you're putting down.
What I was getting at is, if we financed it, could we put it on DNR property with, obviously their permission?
I don't think
I don't
that's where
believe so.
I'm reading it. I'm thinking
Yeah, I
let's call it what it is. They're scared to do it.
Yes, I would agree.
Whereas a private person or entity, for lack of an argument, let's say a similar property or the same property, or a different property for that matter, to put in our goal for our kiosks and an entrance point. If there wasn't already an entrance point existing, could we get permission to put the kiosk though, rather than a new access point, if there's already an access point in existence?
Yeah, you
Would
just,
DNR allow us to put the kayak rental near that access point?
so that people could use the access
That
point
that is
without having
already
to
existing.
bring their own kayak.
Exactly.
I'm pretty familiar with the whole area up here, and I just find it interesting that Pigeon River up in the Grange and Stew Bend County, there's multiple access points on the Pigeon River up there. And you've got a livery up there that keeps all the brush cleaned up and runs a pretty good campground and canoe livery business up there, so,
I believe there are two,
what's that?
I believe there are two.
Yeah, I think there's
Pigeon
two.
River.
Yeah.
They keep that section. Once you get a little farther to the west, it's not quite so clean.
Those are DNR owned, those are DNR owned access points
Yes,
on Pigeon.
yes.
For our guests, one of our goals with our 5-year plan was to increase water-based recreation, and part of that is with the river, you know, being able to get people onto it. Obviously, it's gonna be kayaks, that type of thing. So we wanted to be able to, you know, figure out where are all the access points, how do people get on them, can they navigate, you know, around it? And then there's an opportunity for us to install what's called kayak kiosk, you know, where they're rentals and people can just swipe their card, take a kayak. And if they just wanna try it, it comes with the kayak, the paddle, the life jackets. We don't maintain it, you know, it's a private company, and that would get people out onto the river. So we're trying to figure out how we get people to utilize some of the assets that we have in the community.
That makes
With a
sense.
low barrier, so the idea was, one,
That's
you don't
correct.
have to have the,
That would explain it. Sorry,
no, you're fine. Try to add just
at least that's where I'm thinking.
little bit of additional context. Why this route was considered is because it reduces the barrier for the resident to participate. They don't have to own a kayak, they don't have to lug a kayak there, there'd be one available on site. And part of this conversation was trying to determine where would be the best fit for said kayak, and of course, our natural
That makes sense.
assets and our public access points that are DNR owned
Well, the story I heard.
already have the ramps there that would make it a natural fit to partner together, so we're just examining what that would look like. And it varies, so the lockers all vary, you can have anywhere from 4 to 8. I think the largest was like 2 sets of 8.
So how many were you thinking about putting out?
We were thinking probably
That
8.
makes
To
sense.
start with.
Let's do it.
That way family could
Or
go.
one part, and you know, the new CIP plan that we have to build, all the townships have to build, we built in our 5-year plan that we own half of the channel that goes up to our old township hall property. And that we're applying to get it cleaned out. There are boats in it now, but that it will lead up to the park where people can park there, and then we'll have a pavilion for kiosk, you need to put your kiosk there.
So
It's gonna be for canoers and kayakers and fishermen to.
Yes.
That's at the
Go back.
old township hall.
Yeah, so if you look at Beacon, you'll see it goes, there's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 houses that run between
Yep.
that
Yeah.
property and the.
Yeah.
And this near
Duke's
Duke's
Bridge.
Bridge.
Yeah, it's Duke's Bridge.
So right
before the
behind
dam.
them is a channel.
Yep.
And we own, right down the middle, we own half of that, so we've been talking to some dredgers that can come in and, but we gotta get all sorts of approval.
Right.
Yeah,
Would that be something that if a 2026 or 2027 opportunity were to
Probably
come, would
27 or
we be
28.
would this group be able to present to the township that would be a potential location to activate?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good to know.
no, that's awesome.
Not to interrupt, I just looked it up. According to GIS, Hannah owns that property. Not Bushby, but that doesn't mean something hasn't been recorded. But that's what it says here. Sorry to interrupt, but I was just like, I just wanna look it up. I've heard 4 stories here, I wanna see which one it
But it's amazing how fast that, I
Transition.
mean, literally within a week, poof.
Oh yeah, I couldn't believe it, because we've stopped there several times.
When they sold off Diamond Lake, swimming hole.
Yeah.
That was all done through the county council, I believe.
Yeah. 'cause it
So
was
there should be some kind of record if the county owned it.
But-
And it was sold.
Not to interrupt, but I think we're talking about 2 different pieces. Well, at least I'm talking about the river, you're talking about getting on the Diamond Lake, right?
Yeah, but same, the concept of it.
Oh, the
There's
concept.
gotta be
You know,
records of the
You would,
transactions.
yeah, because if the county was involved, they, as
Yeah.
a seller, there should be
Take a
some.
look though, who's the owners, but I'd seen Hannah's owned it for years.
Oh, I think Hannah owned it. The story I heard when the state originally bought that, they owned like to the center of the road. When it came time to put the boat ramp in, somebody put the boat ramp on the wrong side of the road.
Oh.
And for years, Hannah's were okay with it. That would have been Joyce and Lance. And then here comes Mark. And he decided, that's it. And he put a fence up.
Yeah, and I heard they were having trouble with trash, but we're all talking about rumor, so,
No,
Yeah.
I mean, hearsay, I mean, we can't prove any
if
of
you
it.
guys get a ramp put in somewhere on private ground, who's gonna maintain it?
That's it.
Cause I doubt that the state's going to.
No.
We basically just came out and said, you're not gonna help you.
Oh,
That's
the state, yeah.
That's why my goal would be to potentially, rather than activate a new
Site.
site, I would rather say this because I'm on the record and being recorded and everything. I think it would be more meaningful to maximize the potential of current sites that already have that control and build those partnerships, whether it's with a city or town or another municipality or the state.
Right.
So the example of Elkhart Township, I think that's a more viable option or route for us to take, especially if it would serve a piece of unincorporated Noble, which, if we remember right, that's the charge of this entity, is to serve unincorporated Noble County and partner with our municipal and nonprofit organizations like Noble Trails, like the Ligonier Parks Department. But that our primary goal and service is to serve those in the unincorporated space, which this would be a great example of that, and to give Elkhart Township some just a reminder for those that maybe didn't attend or weren't on the board at that time. Elkhart Township typically has come and participated, engaged very actively with our summits annually, as well as been a site host in recent past when they did their new building. So that's a good example of a quality partnership.
Right.
So we appreciate you being here today, Donna, and thanks for letting us pick your brain about potential future partnerships.
Yeah, that's great.
Would you like this card?
Yes, I'll take it, put it in our record. And then we can reach out to her so we can send an invitation. Oh, that's Wes, okay. Okay.
Just like we talked about looking into the Ball Road, I assume the county still owns up to the river. There when they moved the road.
We extended a letter to Zach Smith to ask if we could get an update from him, and I did not get a reply to that, did you, Grace?
Not just clarifying which parcel he was discussing,
Right,
cause he reached out to us, that would have been last month, and that's in the minutes from the previous meeting.
yeah, so we will reach out to him again and see if we can get some update on the Ball Road stuff.
My concern, Mike knows much better than I do though, if we put these kiosks, we wanna make sure it's kind of a safe area.
Exactly.
And
That's why I think being hyper strategic about location and hyper strategic about partner will be key to making those decisions, cause yes, we obviously wanna access and open up access for residents in a place that's easy for them to access, but also we need to do it in a place and space that's safe, that we have a strong relationship with, so, which is part of the reason why I like the angle of partnering with Elkhart Township to be that first one, because they can kind of be that strong partner, that we could be a guinea pig and just say, hey, how do we, if we activated it here, what did it look like? What would we have done differently, what would we do the same? That way it can be repeatable if other places, other townships or other cities wanna participate.
Right, and that's a great location because they can either go downriver to Cosperville, which is a great, 4-hour, 3-hour drive, or canoe trip, or they can go onto the lakes
Yep.
and go that way.
Mhm.
So it's a great location. Yeah, and there's adequate parking there with Duke's Bridge, so nice area.
And there's a history of activity, which again is gonna also make it a little bit naturally safer. Because there's been a history of activity at that space since it would be the old township hall area that we're discussing. But again, this would be a 2027, 2028 project, a future project, but I like the brainstorming, that's the vision that we've had for a long time with this board, is to activate river access and better serve our unincorporated community, and with the right partnerships, I think we can do it.
Great. Okay, anything else on Tri-County? Alright, the next thing on the agenda is to review the proposed meeting calendar, and you all have that. What we talked about was meeting every other month. And then we know that 2026, we want this to be a very active year because with the change in the ordinance that allows us to get grants, that allows us to do some of these things, we are gonna be putting together, our 5-year plan, we're gonna be doing some strategy, what do we wanna accomplish? So those meetings will probably take place outside of these meetings, and those subcommittees will come back and report here. So it's not like we're not gonna be doing anything for 2 months, we're gonna be very busy. There'll be a group of us that are gonna be working on grants, strategy, 5-year plan, so we'll have a lot of activity, but we wanted to keep our actual meetings with everybody where we have these subcommittees report to every other month. So this would stay, the third Wednesday of the month, same time, same location, everything there. And then we would do our meeting, we're proposing to do a fall summit in September with our board meeting following the summit. So any thoughts on this schedule?
Fourth Wednesday of the month or third?
Fourth or third? I think it's a fourth,
I
yeah,
believe
you're
they're-
right.
Most of them are fourth, excluding the September meeting. Here, I'm gonna pass this to you, Teresa.
I
got a
remember
copy of it.
that already.
The only reason for that was
Yes,
so
you're
that we avoided America 250, but then also avoided some of our busiest fair and
Yes.
festival seasons. So that way we weren't interrupting something like Stone's Trace Week, but we also weren't interrupting something like the Apple Festival of Kendallville and some of our other events that are
Sure,
going
these
on.
are fourth week, July 15th.
I don't think I think it's the third.
Third.
I think they're the third,
I think they're the third week now. And our charter says that we can set the schedule for the year, so.
That's hard.
If the third week is not ideal, the dates could be moved to the fourth, would that be?
That would be much
Beneficial.
better.
Yeah, you're competing with another public hearing John and I are in.
Oh,
Well,
gotcha,
okay.
Not at the same time, but same day.
Same
Gotcha.
day, and that's just,
Makes for a
you
lot
would
of-
not have my attention, that's for sure.
Okay, well then, we can adjust these dates, but the thought would be every other month, January, March, May, July, have the summit in September and then November. So we can adjust the dates, but are you okay with the bi-monthly instead
The
of
opposite,
monthly?
the other side of that too is checking with the county coordinator Jackie to make sure that those dates that you're wanting are
Are
gonna be dates
available.
that the room is available.
Yes.
Okay, alright, that'll be the next step, then we'll adjust the dates, check with Jackie, and then we'll bring back the final, if you guys are okay with bi-monthly, then we'll adjust the dates and get it approved through Jackie, and then bring the final calendar to next month's meeting.
The only comment I get is the
Yes.
November meeting. Usually, Jim, we moved that to 1st of December or
Yes,
so.
that's right, we did.
Yeah, because there's so many holidays.
You don't wanna do Thanksgiving.
So whoever's doing it, that would be my only suggestion, and do the fourth Wednesday as we've been.
Okay, so let's look at first week of December for that one.
So would you entertain a motion, Diane, to set next year's schedule at bi-monthly with dates to be determined at the next meeting?
Yes, well, dates be presented at the next meeting.
Could be presented at the next meeting.
So, are you making that motion?
I will make that motion.
Alright, could we get a second? Thank you, and all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Okay, the main thing was just, right now we meet monthly, and we really felt that there's gonna be so much activity where we're gonna have small groups, we wanna keep this focused on the reporting. So, if you guys will go ahead and double check the availability of the room, get their dates, and we'll present it at November, so you've got it on your calendar.
So the next one is November 26th.
Yes, our next meeting is November 26th,
Okay.
and that will be the last one for the year. Because
Okay,
we won't have one in
Diane,
December.
if we got most of our agenda done, it looks like we have.
Just got a couple things, yeah.
Oh, go ahead, then I was gonna
Oh.
ask or tell you why I brought Mike in, but go ahead.
Okay, all right. So that was the meeting schedule. And then 3.3 is we wanted to talk about prospective new board members. Obviously, we have, some guests here today. Jim is going to be leaving the board at the end of December. So we want to make sure that we're getting people engaged to either look at potential board seats or just be volunteers, because this is going to be a very, very active next couple years as we start putting together some very strategic plans, looking at our 5-year plan. So I would just open it up to say, we know there's gonna be board positions, if you have an interest in that, we would love to have you talk to us. Let us know that this is something you would be interested in. So that was all I was going to do this is where I was gonna say that you were officially, giving your resignation 12/31, but Grace beat me to the punch, so that's okay. And then, that is all I had under new business, other than just to reiterate that we will, in January, we will be looking at in November, we'll be looking at the slate of officers, elections will be in January. So I'll be reaching out to talk to you guys individually about kind of what you would like to do. If you've got an area that you'd like to, really focus on, we know that there's gonna be opportunities to work with grants, there's gonna be opportunity to, there'll be a treasurer's position, so there's a lot of things that, we're gonna be looking at doing in the next year, so I wanted to work with each one of you individually to kind of get, where's your interest? What would you like to be involved in? So I will reach out to all of you between now and November to look at those opportunities and slate of officers, et cetera.
And just a heads up, that November 26th is literally the day before Thanksgiving.
I know.
That would be my recommendation, that we request a new date or host a virtual option due to the holiday.
Well, that's why we moved it to December, we just do one.
We might check with Jackie and see if there's a date, the first week of December it would be available. So let's put TBD, and we can ask Jackie, and then we'll send it out with the meeting minutes. Grace usually has the meeting minutes out within a day or two of this meeting.
Try it.
So you'll get it, and we'll adjust the meeting on the calendar and all that stuff. But we'll try for the first week of December instead of this. This was just what was on our schedule already. And there was a December one, but we canceled that earlier today because we don't normally do a December meeting. It's a November, December combined.
Did you let Jackie know that one's canceled? Cause that leaves the room available when we cancel a meeting.
Yeah, I think she was copied on the cancellation.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just did that this morning, so. Let's see, any other new business that anybody has?
Alright, I apologize for jumping the
Oh, no, you're fine.
agenda. Okay, first thing, Mike, whatever you say, remember you're being recorded, broadcast to everybody in the world. But I actually talked to Mike because he has a very big interest, in which he knows I have an interest, and we haven't always agreed, to say at least on, but I think I want him to come in and, since he's a landowner, bring his side of the story. And then what we would like to do, me and Mike talked for, 20, 30 minutes at least, of why I would like to get people on the river. And I'm not gonna speak for you, but some of the concerns we have from landowners, I think he would be a very good representative. Acres has some properties on there that Jim could probably help. But I was like, how do we get the community behind us here to do something without stepping on too many toes? I don't know, that's kind of a rough introduction, but that's the best I can do.
Depends on the toes you step on.
Well, it
How big
does.
those toes
It's
are.
obvious because we won't go there. But,
Why?
well, I don't like to throw names around, but certain ones you don't want to step on their toes. But personally, for me, I look at this, the river, which Jim knows, I've been probably for 15 years.
Mhm.
Been trying to figure out how we can get the river cleaned up. And I don't mean butchered, I just mean so it's safe to go down. Will help with everybody. For the farmers, we get drainage. For the public, they get to use the river. And I think for the county, it could be an asset that would bring in some kayakers, some out of town money into the area.
Yeah.
But I also understand being a landowner, I mean, I don't have a river through, but I got enough ditches I gotta clean up from people's trash.
Mhm.
So how do we make this work? It's kinda like a trail. I mean, when I talked to Scott about his Noble Trails, I said, here's some of the issues. This is the back of somebody's property for the most part, and you're kinda invading it. I think the people that normally would go down the river are the same people that would normally use the trail. They keep their stuff picked up. They respect people's property.
Normally.
That's normally, and the other part is the other.
Mhm.
And I know that, well, 20 years ago, whenever that just blew up, that was just stupid, or not stupid, well, it was stupid in my opinion, wasn't the end great. But how do we come together on how to make this work? I mean, my biggest thing is, this county, some people have a lot of money, some people don't. But the river, especially with the kiosk thing, you don't have to have a lot of money to go out and enjoy the day on that river. I know you're passionate about that river. And so am I, and I don't get to go down it very much. And I can't hardly go down it now because of the shape it's in.
Anything you ask.
Well, and that's how do we make that work with the landowners? How would we make that work?
Number one, I have to know that you're gonna respect it just as much as I do.
But I should take this over. You and me have had this discussion. I would like to get the board
Well,
involved.
and maybe everybody else needs to hear it, Gun. I'm the new Charlie Kirk. There is nothing wrong with discussion.
Well, no, nothing
We don't
wrong,
have to fight.
but I don't want to have these people have their time, the same discussion you and I had for a half hour or whatever it was. How do we get to that point? Because we all know there's bad apples out there.
Mhm.
I mean, I hate to say this, but I went down and I picked up 2 5-gallon bucket full of softballs from Albion.
Right.
Okay, and they weren't done purposely.
Right.
But they got hung up on the trees.
Right.
And the trees and the swamp or the grass and everything, that's what makes the Elkhart really fun to go down and see all the wildlife. But it's also an issue for keeping it out of the river and making it safe for novices to go down the river and not drown.
So what I'm hearing, John, is you're seeking, please correct me if I'm wrong, but that you're seeking a better partnership with landowners to mitigate their risks so that the likelihood of unwanted actors, but also just unwanted scenarios would be limited or non-existent so that stronger, healthy relationships with landowners could happen, that you wanna mitigate risk.
Well, yeah, and the landowners for the most part bought that, knowing the river is there to enjoy the river
Yeah.
themselves.
Exactly.
Right, for hunting and everything else, just like me and Mike, we both hunt. Unfortunately, he has a little more time than I do, but I understand at certain times of the year, you just, look, kayaking's out, okay? But during the summer months and other times, there's a lot of things to see there if you can be quiet.
Right. Teresa, you had a
I
comment?
think it comes down to communication, you know, how do we educate people that, you know, it's like going on the trail, the
Mhm.
fishing line trail, once you're off that path of the trail, you're on private property.
Right.
People need to be educated that once you're out of that kayak, you're on private property. No litter signs, you know, signs where the drop-off zones are, that, you know, this is all private property, you're allowed to be on the water, clean up your mess, you know, take it in or out. I think some education, proper signage, and hopefully people don't ruin it for everybody else.
Right.
You're gonna have 1 or 2 bad apples no matter what, but
And, you know, like, from Westlake's perspective, you know, we've done a lot to keep the river clean and clean it up, and you're right, you get people who throw a lot of trash, you know, they throw their beer cans and whatever out.
or it's an accident, I'll be
Or-
honest, we've kayaked for years and every
Yeah.
once, my husband's lost 2 pair of glasses.
Yeah.
It's
But-
not intentional.
You know, but then you also get those places, every place where there is a bridge, when we go to clean up, there's furniture, there's refrigerators, there are
Oh.
TVs, there's car parts,
Sorry,
tires.
I'm tired.
People will just throw things off the
Oh.
bridge.
Oh.
So somehow we gotta address that, that's not even kayakers, those are people who don't respect the river, they're just looking for an easy place to dump stuff. You know, so education and awareness is gonna be critical, and I think as we start thinking about our 5-year plan and implementing a lot of this stuff, we need to take into consideration, how do we do that?
Get it in the school system, get those kids to start knowing
Yes.
what littering means again, so they're gonna tattle on their parents, Mom, you shouldn't have done that.
Yes,
you know,
don't throw that out.
start younger.
No, I think there's a big education part of our thing, but, you know, definitely appreciate, you know, the input and how do we, as you say, how do we build that collaboration and mitigate the risk that the landowner's gonna do? You know, they own that land, they don't wanna see it harmed, so how do we do that? You know, so really, I think we got a lot of really great opportunities to come up and just put some thoughts behind.
In my view, it's a multifaceted issue. So you've got the education part, which I think is very well been addressed and some great ideas. Now we move to the river itself and the physicality of trying to go down a river that has so many impasses in it that it's ridiculous. One way maybe to bring that about in a steady way would be to start at 6. Instead of trying to do the whole river at one time, say to have a 2-year plan where you do going upriver, take the first, let's clean up the first quarter of a mile or first half a mile or some distance. So that people then can go up to that point and come down to the bridge and go on toward the North Branch. And then the next 2-year cycle, take a little bit more. If we try to start at the top part of the river, it's gonna take 20 years and a lot of convincing to get people to clean that out in one fell swoop. So you work on it and you demonstrate that by cleaning it up, and you know, you can advance the quality of the river incrementally. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I agree with that, I mean,
But don't start, that's where you start and how much you try to do it well rather than trying to do the whole thing in 3 years, the whole river, and then do all the, you know, do all these other things with it. I mean, the educational program can correlate with that, proper signage and other, you know, attributes that you want to develop can be implemented into it.
And the one thing that I would add as just a caveat to those cleanup work days and cleanup campaigns would also just be to promote the concept of a no litter pledge. Like getting our cities and towns to formally pledge that they're not gonna litter, individual residents, key stakeholders, leaders in the community, our organization and others to make that just a part of their statement if they are a stakeholder, encouraging them to make that pledge, even though it's like the UN, right? It's highly symbolic and ultimately not that enforceable, but when there's ownership behind it, it makes a significant difference, and I like Teresa's point.
The UN as an analogy?
Well, what I'm saying is, I'm using that as an analogy to discuss that sometimes high-minded rhetoric actually can be helpful. I'm not saying it's always enforceable, but it gets the conversation going, and a pledge doesn't cost any money and isn't really necessarily enforceable, but having people go on the record saying they're making this statement can be a leverage part of advocacy and education.
well, let's just say what it is parents haven't taught kids you don't do that anymore. But I mean, when I was a kid, you just didn't do it, but it still happened. I mean,
Right.
I can remember picking up pop bottles so I could go get bubble gum. So it's always happened, but it comes right down to the parents, which we can't control.
Correct.
But I
Well, we
think
can
Jim's got a
control-
good idea there, of doing a small area, but we need an in and an out.
Yep.
I don't know about you, but for the most part, I like going down the river. I'm really not big on going back up the river.
Yeah.
Pretty much so, that river doesn't really have much of a current.
No, it doesn't, it's not that hard to go around.
Yeah.
But to
Well,
get,
that would give us an example of, if we did it right, what it would look like for people.
And if you get the people engaged who are passionate about using the river and they see the progress, then they're gonna help be advocates for, let's take care of it, you know, they'll be willing to come and work and to help and to maintain it, so. I mean, we've got a lot of people with the trails who are very passionate about the trails, they love the trails, and they're kind of self-monitoring, you know, to say, don't leave that pop can there, you know, there's a trash can up here, you know?
but you know, keeping the wood or the trees out and stuff, that's still where we gotta be with the landowners. We don't
Right.
need people coming in there, well, we need to cut the tree and it's on Mike's.
Yeah.
Hey, you need to talk to Mike, it's on his.
Right. You can't just take a barge down and go through
Go through
and
it.
clean everything without landowners.
But that's why, like, I'll be honest, Mike is who I would go to. There's a couple other people, but he lives on the river, he knows the river. So maybe he can give us an idea, hey, try to find you two places here, this would be a good place.
Good.
It may not be on his property, it may be a neighbor that he knows.
Right.
And there's probably we know of a couple properties we don't even wanna think about right at the moment.
Right, okay.
But he knows the river. I'll be honest, when I go on the river, I don't even know who I'm passing. I think squirrels so much.
Yeah.
If I didn't have a map, if I had a map maybe, but I get squirreled around it and I'm like, okay. I've seen the towers 3 times now, but we ain't got any closer, but
You know, I've been involved with Acres for, it seems a million years now, but one of the fights that we had with the general population was whether or not you could have dogs on the property, and whether or not they would, if you did, whether they would be leashed. The reason for that is that Acres properties are for people, but they're also, their primary mission is preservation over time, forever. So that's why we have a fiduciary relationship with all the landowners that we've interacted with over time. So finally, we came to the conclusion that, yes, you can bring your dog, but it has to be on a leash. And the reason for that is that you get off the trails, you get into some unique areas where certain species of plants, for example, absolutely get trampled if you have 2 or 3 big hunting type dogs. They're destructive, not meaningfully. If you keep them on, I mean, that's a rule. I'm just giving as an example, as a rule of.
Well, you set some expectations
Yes.
Yeah.
of what,
Exactly.
how do you utilize the property?
People have come around to that.
Mary Lee doesn't have quite in with any of that, do they?
And I also wanna throw out, I don't know how many of you are familiar, but our undergraduate students every fall take a 9-day canoe trip
Yes.
down
Well,
the
they still
Elkhorn.
are doing it.
They're still doing it. Yeah, and so they start in Ligonier, cause they've tried to start further down and just can't get through, but they go all the way to Lake Michigan. It's like
Yes.
a 9-day trip,
Yes.
and so those students are very, I think personally, like impacted by that trip, and every year they do a project as part of that course. And so I'm wondering if this might be like a natural integration, I know they've worked with Ligonier.
A couple times,
Mhm.
yeah.
and so I'm wondering if that might be like a nice natural, if we could get in with those folks, and I know they come and visit.
So that might be a naturalist come back up from Lake.
Mm,
Because
yeah,
they
I
can
mean,
get
I'm
through
sure
it.
they would, but I know like the first day
I mean,
of
a
their
natural
canoe
ad,
trip,
I don't know,
there's-
what do you-
yeah.
Do you know what time of year or what month that's typically in? Cause would it
They
align?
start right after Labor Day.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna
would
say-
it align for them to present that experience to the Parks Board during the summit? Even if it's just a high level presentation of what that experience meant to those students? Even if it's just one spokesperson or a few spokespeople from,
Yeah, I could
Yeah.
definitely put it on,
Yeah, they've been doing that. I didn't realize that it kept
they
going.
still doing it,
I
yeah.
thought it stopped, cause they always said, you wanna go? I go, I can't go in September.
Yeah, not
I'd
for 9
love to
days.
go.
Cause that's like the first piece of their course, so the students really get to know each other.
That's
and
their
crops.
environmental studies from Goshen College, yeah. The
Yeah,
master's program.
sustainability students, yeah.
Yeah, that's what
It's undergrads, yeah. So they
Okay.
had 5 students this year that went down
That's awesome,
there, so.
that's awesome.
So there is places, I assume they got a camp that they've already, are they private or?
Some private, some campgrounds, some like churches that they have to transport back and forth to, but I know this year especially they really struggled. A lot of the places they used to stay aren't there anymore.
Oh, really?
With like the landowners that they were getting to know, cause they talk to people all down the watershed. The Facebook post went out today on the Mary Lee page about their canoe trip, that has all the
Check it
people they
out.
met with going down the watershed, so.
Cool. Alright, well, we are, I mean, I guess I'll say for me, I'm very excited to see the new faces. You guys all bring something very unique to the board. You know, just to have the discussions that we wanna have and start tackling, you know, the new opportunities that we have. I'm very excited, yeah, to have new faces and new ideas, so. Okay, any other new business that we need to go over? No? Anything else that anyone wants to bring up?
Got anything you wanna say?
Have we accomplished anything?
Not yet. But we gotta start.
Yeah.
You're the start.
Mm-hmm.
You're the guinea pig.
So where's your property along the south branch? Where is your property approximately? In the middle?
South.
On the south branch, where is it along? Near 6? Downstream,
No.
is it up south, is it
Upstream.
south of Albion here then? Up by, say, Lloyd Bender Nature Preserve, up that way?
Right across the road from you guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you guys gotta be really close.
We've been a good neighbor. Yes.
There you go.
Cause I garden things.
Well, yeah, that's good.
No, he guards it.
Gardens.
Well, you
It's not garden.
You garden things, I like
Okay.
gardeners.
Alright, so our next meeting, the date will be confirmed, we know, Jackie, if we can do the first Wednesday in December, but just watch the meeting minutes to get that date. And those should go out in the next day or so, so you'll be able to get that on your calendar. It will be, sent out as a meeting notice as well, and it'll be on our Facebook page. And then we will, as I said, we will get the dates confirmed for 2026, present those next month. If there's nothing else to come before the group, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Can I get a second? Alright, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Any comments from our guests?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you, we appreciate you being here, so.
You can keep it.
Because of a moment passed as I was typing, I'm gonna note that the motion to adjourn was at 3:27, is that fair?